So hey, I'm Max, Random X Black X Cat on any of the online places that you might see my username somewhere. That's me. I take that name everywhere. I've had that name for, oh my gosh, since I first had to create an account for something when I was 13 on the internet. It's just kind of stuck with me this whole time. I've kind of always known that I was a Therian. I guess technically you could say that's how I found the furry fandom. I was kind of looking at like werewolves and stuff, and I was like, I really like this, but I want it to be a cat. Like, I want to be more cat-like. And then learning about reincarnation and stuff kind of really helped me get in tune with that. And I often joke saying I'm a cat stuck in a human body, and a lot of that I'm more serious than most people probably take it from. But this meditation I used to do a lot when I was younger, and I've continued to do it, and I've started doing it at cons, and it's always a little bit intimidating to kind of do this stuff and to be almost vulnerable in a sense when you're in a panel room at a convention with other people. I don't know, it always seems kind of silly, but sometimes, the people who are really into it, it's really kind of nice, and it's really soothing, and I often like doing it later in the nights at conventions. Not that it's an after dark panel at all. It's not. I just think it's nice to have a nice quiet moment in cons. We spend so much time running around, doing everything, seeing our friends, getting the most we can out of the weekend and having a good time. It's nice to have a little space where you can just kind of relax and breathe a second. And I'm also really excited to do this virtually. I think a lot of us are probably going to be watching this at home in our rooms or our living room. I know I'll be watching it from my big living room TV, and I'm really excited for everything, and I hope everyone's enjoying all the content that we've been providing all weekend. But if you want to join in, that's totally fine. If you're just here because you're just watching the stream and you're letting it play and this isn't your kind of thing, that's totally fine. You can laugh at me of being a little bit hippie coming from Asheville. It's something I really enjoy, and maybe give it a try. Maybe this is something you really like. But yeah, I hope that you have a nice, quiet space, comfy space to kind of lay down on, and you're open-minded to everything that is about to happen. So I often like to start this out by just having everyone sit somewhere that they're comfortable, in any position they want, and to just close their eyes if they're comfortable. You don't have to if you're not comfortable closing your eyes somewhere. And just close your eyes and just picture your persona or the animal that you want to drop into. Just picture what your ideal soul would probably look like. This can be canine, it can be feline, maybe you're avian, maybe you're one of those lucky ones that gets to swim all day in the ocean, maybe you're a little crab. Just picture it, just in front of you, mimicking you, sitting the way you're sitting, laying the way you're sitting, and just slowly reach out as if you're touching a mirror and meet their claw or their paw, and just sit there and just focus on your fingertips touching just a little bit. It could be soft like fur, it can be kind of cold like a scaly, it can be maybe a little bit wet if you're aquatic. Maybe if you're a little bit different, it's some feathers. Just lightly start meeting your guys' hands together. You don't have to exactly hold hands, but you just start getting a sense of touching them, of feeling who they are, of kind of seeing how maybe they would feel you back. After you're kind of used to that, start trying to connect your forearms. Start trying to put your whole arm there. Maybe you're even finally okay and comfortable enough breaking through the mirror, and you're starting to kind of take up the same space. Slowly, as you kind of get your extremities together, if your eyes are closed, or if you're a little bit more creative with your eyes open, start looking at your hand. It might be starting to be a little bit different now. It's not as human and fleshy as it was before. You might start finally be getting some fur. Maybe you're getting some scales. I know my favorite part is I like to start taking my little cat claws in and out and just playing with my little toe beans and seeing how it all feels different when I wiggle my fingers together. As you slowly start getting more accustomed to this, you can kind of let that feeling creep up to your arm and over to your shoulder. And then maybe it can go across your back and start working on advancing this feeling to your other arm, down to your other hand. Now, my favorite part is paws, and I know a lot of people can kind of agree with me on this, but the toe beans are just so cute, and wiggling them, whether you like having it a little bit more feral and it's a little bit more rigid, and so you can kind of keep your hand a little bit more. Maybe if you have a hoof, you can kind of curl in your fingertips, get that hoof shape that you can. Maybe it's a split hoof, maybe it's a solid hoof. Maybe start trying to figure out if you can feel that dew claw coming out of, above your wrist area. Maybe you're a little bit different. You got a claw like a bird or a griffin, and start trying to feel your fingers stretch out into different positions that maybe they normally wouldn't. Maybe you're more of a flying creature and you have wings that you need to start kind of feeling between your arm and your torso. These can be a little bit trickier. If it's easier for you to start imagining wings coming out from your shoulder blades, go ahead and do that. This is your space. This is your time to kind of drop into whatever creature you want. Maybe you're a dragon and you have some fun little spikies that would be on your shoulder or down your spine. As you start focusing more on your spine, go ahead and let, whatever kind of spikes that you might have going down your spine, or let the fur kind of raise down, or maybe even let it elongate or shorten depending on what kind of a creature you are. If you're more of a flexible creature like a mouse, you can go ahead and maybe kind of like wiggle around and feel your bones soften and turn into the little jelly that I swear they're created of, with how they wiggle into different little areas. And maybe you no longer want to sit anymore in your new body that you've kind of created, and you want to lay down. Feel free. It's your space. If you want to lay down and kind of stretch out and get your back legs to match your front legs so that you're dropping more into your animal body, that's totally fine. Maybe you're a little fish and you want to flop around like a little Magikarp. It's your world right now. You can do whatever you want in that space. Once you've kind of gotten your body figured out, we're going to start trying to figure out the tail. It'll be more of a phantom limb situation. I know some of you therians might know that word. It's kind of nice. The tail is one that I like to focus a lot on, and it's one that I tend to keep a lot when I'm in a headspace that allows me to have that. And I like to focus on the way the spine comes down your back and it goes down to your hip area, and just let it naturally keep continuing on where your tail would be if you were to have this, and let it stretch on out. And once you kind of get that groove and that feeling, maybe like flick it around a little bit. Cats like to always be wiggling their tails at the end of it, and I know I always like to have my tail wiggling. Maybe you're more of a horse and you have hair that comes on down, and try and whip it a little bit. See if you could like hit a little fly out of the air. Now, if you're one of my corgi friends and you have a little nub tail, you're not forgotten in this tail part, and you have a little tail, shake that little tail. Everyone likes a little nub tail. It's the cutest tail of all. Mess around with it. See how it feels a little bit, kind of wiggling in the hip area, trying to figure out what it would feel like if there really was a tail there. Maybe it doesn't fit correctly with the clothes you're wearing, or maybe you're like me and you're in some comfy PJs and it would be totally fine. It's all right. It's whatever you're comfortable with. And now, after you've kind of gotten used to this, we're going to focus on one of the harder parts of this. The body, I feel, is a little bit easier. The tail is that's just the fun part. That's the one that I like to keep a phantom limb as much as possible. Go ahead and focus on your facial regions and think about the different parts of your face, where your ears are, where your mouth is, where your nose are, where your eyes are. And just kind of take note of where all of them are and kind of drop into them, feel them. And then look back at your persona or the animal that you're trying to drop into that was across from you in the mirror, and start seeing how the differences are between your face and theirs and where they are. If you're a prey creature, then your eyes are already probably in the correct spot. And if you're not, if you're a deer, they might need to go a little bit further to the side, which is fine. And as you move your eyes and where they feel, try and adjust your ears to the correct spot. You might be like a lizard and they need to go further back and kind of lose all that extra cartilage around it so that you have your little ear holes that you listen out of. Maybe if you're a zebra, you need to move them up so that you can swivel them around and hear for enemies that might be in the bush. If you're, a dog, maybe you want to start trying to move them upwards or flop them down a little bit. Maybe one ear is straight and the other's floppy. Mess around with it. See what kind of ears fit you best. All ears are kind of different, and they're all fun, and they're all unique in their own way. And once you kind of mess around with that a little bit, you might want to start focusing on your muzzle. This part is a little bit different for everyone. I know if you're an aquatic creature, you don't super have like the breathing nose because you're underwater and stuff like that, and that's fine. Just kind of adjust in the correct portions of where we are in this, and that's totally fine. You can also change up halfway through if you want. I find it's easiest to just focus on one and stay with the one. But start feeling your muzzle and your mouth and your nose all kind of form together. And if you need to keep looking back at a reference, feel free. No one's judging you. Feel your nose and your mouth kind of elongate into the little snoot of a fox, if that's what you're trying to turn into. And it goes further out. And maybe, you want to have a little bit of a shorter nose, like your little squish-faced cat. And that's fine. Get your little grumpy face on and be like, it's all right, whatever feels comfortable. Now, if you have whiskers, like I do, you can go ahead and start trying to extend those little thin hair-like pieces from your face and feel them just stretch on out and start giving you extra sensory of the world. They're there to help you feel. They're there to help you identify what's going on around you. Maybe your air conditioner's on or you have a fan going and it blows through the whiskers and your fur and you can feel it moving as it goes over your body. And it's nice. Now, if you've been able to get your ears, take your paw, your claw, your talons, whatever, your hooves, and try and just touch your ear. Try and feel where they are. I find pretending to just rub the back of your head where your ears would be is often kind of nice. And just imagine it being there and how nice it would be if it was there. And in this moment, it is there. And it's there for you. And you're in a different body. And now that we've all kind of dropped into our own animals, or at least attempting to drop in, it's okay if you haven't. Don't force yourself. This is just as much as you can get out of this is fine. If not, hopefully you're just enjoying this nice little peaceful moment of just thinking about and looking at your persona or your chosen spirit animal, and hopefully maybe you're learning some new features that that you didn't realize that they had that might match kind of similar up to you, or you're seeing what kind of space that they live in and different than what you live in. It's all about comparison, and a lot of this is make-believe and just enjoying and pretending and fantasizing about what you maybe could have. So, one thing that I think will be a cool thing to play with, since we are hopefully all at home. I mean, some of you might be at work or something, listening to this, watching this. But let's just all, now that we're in our animal bodies, just kind of relax wherever we are in the living room, on our beds, and just kind of flop over to the side and just look around your room and see how your animal counterpart would kind of take in the room that you're in. They don't see things the same as us. They don't exactly know what everything might be. The TV isn't a TV to them. It's some magical box that, their humans change and watch and stare at all the time, and we can kind of stare at it, but it might not be the same colors. It might not be exactly what, we normally perceive it to be. You might want to just kind of roll around and, imitate your pets if you have any, and see what it's like to lay on the floor in their area and roll around and kind of stretch out and take up that space. Maybe try sitting in one of the chairs a little bit differently. Maybe try and move around a little bit and see how different it is. If you have a pillow or a blanket or something, maybe instead of wrapping up in it, you try and make it into a little nest. Kind of just enjoy this moment and kind of make it your own, and do something that maybe you wouldn't normally try and do because you'd be too embarrassed. But it doesn't matter. You're in your own little world, in your own new body, and you're just enjoying this moment and getting out of it what you can. You're just enjoying the weekend. You don't have bills to pay. You don't have to worry about going to work tomorrow. You just get to hang out and enjoy. The food might not be as good, or it can be. You could be one of those creatures that gets to go outside. Maybe you're not an inside animal. Maybe you're a creature that likes to hang out in the woods and breathe in the different leaf smells and the flowers and feel the dirt and the brush underneath your paws, or carefully walk over branches with your hooves. Maybe you're more of a savanna animal and you can hide in the tall grass and feel the grass brush up against your sides as you're walking, and you part the sea of grass with your face and through your nose, and you're in your herd or you're by yourself and you're not alone in this moment. Or maybe you are. Maybe you're hanging out in a tree, singing your little song before you take off and fly somewhere else, just above all of the world, looking down at it. The wind in your wings as you just soar above, deciding where you might want to land next. You might be hanging out in the river, enjoying the stream, maybe getting ready to jump up over that waterfall to see what might be over the next hill. This is your time to envision your own space and your own world, and just kind of take a break away from this one and just relax. Slowly you are going to have to start coming back, or you can stay in this form the rest of the night. It's really up to you. So those of you that are coming back, hi, welcome. Sorry you have to come back to being a human. Those that are choosing to stay in their new bodies, welcome to your new body. I hope you guys have enjoyed this little meditation session. And I hope maybe you guys can find yourself doing this in your own time. Maybe when you just need a break from finals, or work is stressing you out, or you're just bored and just relaxing and looking for something else to do. But I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the weekend. Thanks.